Hello, how are you doing? Let me check. Is the sound okay in the video? Everybody can hear me and see what we got going? I guess so. Somebody left. One load of me and off they go. Okay, well, let me get started. We got a number of things. Hi, Pastor. How you doing? Um, the the first thing I wanted to talk about is hi, Homer. How you doing? The uh, every time I start up again. Haider, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Paul, hi Paul, Donald, good to see you guys. Okay, well, let me. Hi Owen. Everything green. I take it, Owen. All right. Hey, how you doing, Clyde? Good to see everyone. All right, let me go over quickly. I think some of the things. Some of them are pretty minor. Uh, and I think the only thing I think we need to probably kick around a little has to do with our with Lyrique and the use of it. The first thing I want to talk about are some changes to the back. I I sent them out, and but if you missed them, let me explain what they are very quickly. For some reason, and I can think of a lot of them, uh, Agenor didn't want to put there was a little finger bridge on the movement where Mathieu had said, what did he say? The sort of this is number 15 of 65, something like that, where he put the sort of the rolling number for us. And Nicholas said, nah, he didn't want it there. Now, I can see a good reason for it because right now, all of the other elements, everything, a number of adjustments and so on and so forth, are all on that big metal plate. And by having that other thing on that other one, then they'd have to use two plates. It would be a little more awkward. So that was all it was. And so now it's on the back. And so at the top it says Lyrique Étude 1, and then it has the number. So whatever number it is, 25 out of 65, something like that. Minor change. Um, Finances. I don't know if we had done this last week, but we had paid the final amount that was due to our designer Matt too. So that's all done. And I think that in the I think I did tell you on the finances on the spreadsheet. I just left that one column at 500 and then moved everything over for the new payment, so it's a little easier to keep track of. But effectively, that would leave about $10 in that 500 column. So I was pretty happy that it was so close to what we needed, and yet wasn't uh, over that. And of course, that'll be moved over too. Um, there are no new invoices. One of the things I sort of got certain, like, does this sound okay or does that sound okay? We sort of have, are we a certain amount? And they looked okay. And to answer your question, do we appear to be on budget? Yeah, we're in good shape on that. And I think where things are may rattle around a little, and just a little, is where we people are going to individuals will have multiple payments. I'm going to have multiple payments because I ordered two watches, and so I'm going to have to whatever charge it is. Let's say, for example, on the cases, I'm going to have to pay for two cases. Everyone else or most other people just pay for one. Uh, and but I putting enough money in there for that, so we ought to be in good shape with that. And some other people, quite a few people have put in for moldable watches, which is fine. I think we had a sort of a not a limit so much, but sort of the limit was 100, and so that means anybody could have two. But most people didn't want two; they just wanted one, and so there was a lot left over for other people. So that's going along. We'll find out if somebody comes up short. I'll let them know. And this would be like when we're ordering or paying for. Let's see the dial, the case, the hands. What else? And then, of course, the movement. That'll be the final thing. I think that's all that we have multiple that people will have multiple payments on, or I should say, there are unit payments on it. For most everyone, it'll just be the single one for whatever the invoice of it is. Let's see. Oh yeah, one other thing. This is not a big thing, but it's something I thought was important. Uh, Mathieu had sent me these two pictures that he got from that he sort of made from something that Fiedler had sent him on the hands, and the question was, should there be a cap or no cap? And initially, I thought, boy, it'd be really cool to have a cap. I don't know why, but I thought, wow, just something different. And Matthew was, he was, didn't seem to matter to him one way or the other. Later on, I asked him, I said, what would you recommend? He said, I would recommend it without a cap. And I can see why. So we're going to go with no cap on that. And I think the two things that it says, it probably have cost a little more. I don't know. I doubt it would be a lot. And it was also something that I thought of later was that you may run into a complication because I looked at the way the cap was done, at least in the drawing, and it looked like you take it down and you want to have something simple done, and they got to take the let's say the dial off, the hands off, or something like that. This could be a mess. I don't know. So anyway, so that's another thing. Um, yeah, have a beret or nothing. Okay, so we don't have any new invoices, and as soon as we get the invoices, what I try to do is pay them right away. So far, we have an excellent reputation. I can imagine that some, especially ones that are not the big corporations that they're used to dealing with, like Fabergé or Van Cleef and Arpels or H. Moser or one of those. They have to go through the bureaucracy. With us, we don't. Okay, the other thing I think that's fairly important for us to sort of try to nail down. Now, I did send out information that our attorney had. Um, they had gone through some kind of preliminary, I guess, look at the name for the three different areas we had. There was 14.9, and I think another one. 14 was for watches, and that was the only one we cared about. But he figured, well, you can get 3 for 1, so you might as well kick in these other ones. And on one of the other ones, there was a protest about one of them, just one of the things that they didn't like for whatever reason. And so, I mean, we weren't going to use it anyway. But until May, I think I mentioned in a thing we ought to sort of just not talk about the um, trademark very much until after the final decision in May. I think I'd said March, but it's May. I believe it was February 2nd when the the paperwork was put in, and I gave everyone should see that. I had a copy of that on our major sites, and that would be there's 3 months. Everyone gets a chance to look at it. I don't know who does, but they may. but I just didn't want to bring any attention to it as a trademark until after we get it nailed down. So, not a big thing. Let's see. Scheduling. This was the other thing, and by scheduling, what I mean the production. The watch is in production now, so that's pretty much that. Um, there's and everyone seems to be on schedule, but I think oddly enough, I feel a lot better when I get the invoice because that's more of a very definite in two ways. Definite that's in production or produced, and also that we have a solid price on it. So that's about it. I think we got, until whatever is completed, we have a lot of waiting to do. Um, so anything by anybody or anything you have a question or comment about? Hi, Donald. How you doing? Oh, yeah, I know. This is what we do need to discuss. We need to discuss the rules. Haider, um, I put up, I think I forgot how many questions you had, but there are really only two. Let me look these up. There are really only two issues that seem to have been important to people. Most of the other ones weren't. Let me dig them up for you real quick here. Okay. I'm looking for them here. Here we go. Um, in terms of the rules that we had, the ones that, at least on our poll, that seemed to have the most concern was number 7, which was do we only allow mechanical watches? And most people said yes. So we can put that down with as one of the rules, if that's okay with everybody. Yeah, right. Okay, yep. We vote on whether a new project can start. Do we keep this rule or change it? What do you guys think about that rule? Do on voting on? I don't know. I mean, to me, as long as they follow the other rules, I mean, as long as they're using a uh, yeah, all right. Yeah, that's going to be a very tricky kind of thing. It's in some respect. What's the sense that you have? Do we vote on whether a new product can start? Um, let me ask people who were in favor of that or felt that it was important. Um, uh, uh, what? Why would they not be able to, as long as they had a mechanical watch and they allowed the original users in? Okay. Hi, True Blood. Maybe we should say as long as the movement. Yeah, Hater, that's a good point. Yeah, I think so too. Let's say another watch is about to be introduced and some of us don't intend to participate. Should they be allowed to veto a new project? I don't think so. I don't think anybody ought to be allowed to veto a project. Well, yeah, Hater, that becomes more and more of an issue. We could also add, um, how about putting it this way? Only watches must have adjustable hairsprings. How does that sound? Then they're not picking on silicon anymore. See, one of the things that's one of the most interesting aspects of our watch is the Agon pit, the Agon pit regulator. You can't use that with carbon or silicon. Any well, of course, someone may come along and say, "Look, I wanna use Lyrique. I'm using a, movement that, FP Journe allowed me to use, and, it's got" and, um, he wants to try out some of these new hairsprings from Firehouse that he had visited, and and they're made of, silicon. Paul, yeah, that's a good point, Paul. I agree. You know, you know for the most part, I wouldn't wanna be too bothered by it. What we can do, we're gonna give these rules to our lawyer, and, like, I think number 1 and, number 2 would be the most important ones. Okay, then can a new project start? Maybe we should put down I don't know. There's so many things. I mean, if we specify the quality of stainless steel, I don't know if we could do that with gold or platinum, or it'd even be worth bothering with. Um, I think we ought to have censorship at a minimum in terms of taste. I'll put it that way, and have it as a maximum in terms of quality. Do you think we need to add a disclosure rule? How will people communicate they're pursuing a new watch so everybody has a chance to buy in? Oh, good point, Tourbillon. Ideas on that. Also, too, yeah, we can't expect I mean, all 50 to vote on something. Um, maybe this would be one way to I don't know. I don't know if the attorney would want to be bothered by it, but I was thinking is that that when we send it to the rules, will the attorney go over every single one and say that follows the rules and that doesn't follow the rules? I don't know how that would be pursued either. Rancher, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna start jacking up lawyer fees, so oh no. Yeah, maybe everybody who has a protest has to go through the lawyer and pay the lawyer. That'll that would that'll teach them. Suppose others need to be notified before production. An attorney will wanna be paid for his time. Yeah, I know that. Um No. I saw that, I saw that. I gave him an address someplace in Oklahoma, I forgot where, but, that's taken care of, so you don't have to worry about it. Send all of your lawyer invoices to a real lawyer. Um, this is why I think we need to not go too far. I mean, I don't wanna put together a giant bureaucracy. Here's what we could do. Why don't we list the the movements that would be it let's say we'll call them admissible or permissible of the ones that we know, I think we could say uh, when we look at movement makers, not brand makers, but movement makers, um, one, there we obviously Agenor, I think Vaussure, I think the UWD, the Langenheim one. I think Cronode would be on the more affordable end, but we're talking about $1,000 for a movement, which is pretty much what Vaussure has, except Vaussure has higher numbers. Um, anyway, maybe that's what we ought to do, just have these, and if if one of those movements isn't used, that I think that's when we need to have some kind of somebody or some subgroup or something to say, "Hey, this is it. We'll put together a condominium committee and have 5 people, not including me, who would like to do this. Can we just discuss it per case?" A lot of group members that aren't happy with a new project for the right reasons. For instance, someone slapping on a Myota movement with a Chinese case and call it Lyrique. Haider, yeah, no, 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 I understand that. That's why if we put the name, if we can list a specific some specific named movements that people can buy as a movement. I Some of the cheaper ones, I don't think it'd be a good idea, including some Swiss ones. What is it? Calypso. I'm not too sure about their quality because I have heard some comments about that. On the other hand, you have ones by Chinode that are used by very good watches like Chapek and some other ones like that. But oh, well, good, good. All right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think you know there there could be, and I think there's going to be some very very good movements that are quite possibly being developed in China. I know that the AHCI, the independent group with all of the top watchmakers, a number of those guys are from China, and some of their movements, I mean, like there's one guy who seems to make movements all the time, is very good. He had some watch come out, and I thought, oh boy, this guy's a new guy on the block, and this will be very affordable. It was something like $30,000. So that was that. Um, so anyway, okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, why don't I do this? I'll take a look at the file that Haider sends us. But, I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to limit it just to Swiss or even just to Europeans. I don't think the Americans right now are making any good movements. They may be making some, or there may be some of these independents who are actually making movements. I know that Roland Murphy at RGM has one, but that doesn't seem to be a major part of his sales. And I don't know of anyone else. It's the same thing too with any other place in the world, Australia or South America or Africa. If they got a good movement and we find out about it, at least we can look at it, consider it. Um, yeah, Tour Beyond, that would save a lot of time. I'll tell you what I'll do though, Tour Beyond. I'll also post it to the or Haider can do it, post it to the 6801 page. Um, Personally, whether you like it or not, Bill, you are inexplicably linked to link. If you weren't involved, I'd rather they called it something else. Okay, I got a brand, something else. Watch this coming along. Um, why not have 3 members, uh, per vote? Okay. Hey, that's not a bad idea, Pastor. I like that. Pastor's idea is that we have 3 people, and they say if they give the okay on it, then they can go ahead and do it. Does that sound all right to you? To everybody? A 3-member panel. Okay. That would be, and I propose that we put Haider on it, and we put the rancher on it, since he brought up the legal thing, and and Owen. Owen seems to be, one of the. How's that sound? Rancher, Owen, and Haider. Okay. Now that sounds like doesn't that sound like a good 3-member panel? Okay, check the WhatsApp. Okay, great. All right, Hater put it up on, WhatsApp, on everybody's WhatsApp, I mean, on the, oh, okay. Uh, Hang on a second. Let me see. Okey doke. Open. Okay. Oh, wow. This is what, Hater has. It has, Lyrique supplies, very nice. Swiss private labels, Vaucher, Rowenta, Walcha, Govana, Timestar. Wow. Okay, well, this is Hader really did a lot of work on this. This is great. Um, okay. Suppliers for movements. Yeah, Concepto, that is one I've got my I have my paws on, okay? PAUSE, not PAWS. Um, I just not sure about them, okay? But that doesn't mean anything. Just because I'm not sure about them doesn't mean jack. Um, Precision engineering. Yeah, I think probably the most important thing from precision engineering is this Strausser hairspring. Okay, because that I think would be great to have on anybody's watch. But see, this I don't know of anyone who's going to start without a movement. I mean, whatever movement you have, you're going to have a hairspring by somebody. Okay, so yeah, I think somebody other than me better check into Concepto. Okay, I there I I have some stuff that may not be pertinent, okay? In fact, you could even call them preconceptions, uh, and some associations, but that doesn't mean they're not doing a good job, so let me just leave it at that. Rancher, you have we'll call it a micro pull-up bureau, okay? Yeah, and we'll give code names, Curly, Mo, and what was the other one? Alright, no, oh, and not me. I've got it's I think the more people I've been involved in too much Larry, thank you. You can be Larry, since you got the right answer. I've been involved in too many things, and that, I think the strength of any kind of group like this is we have more people involved. Well, Patch I don't. I mean, you got the rancher for crying out loud, and you got, Haider, who's done a lot of stuff, and that's a good group, I think. Okay? We'll just leave it at that for now. How does that sound? We'll have it we'll call it a triumvirate. Is that okay? Is that good enough? Okay, let me see what else we got. Well, uh, I can't think of, oh, yeah, I know one other thing. Passer, yeah, oh, sounds like the cats with City Slickers. That's I think, yeah, we'll have, Owen, Hader, and the rancher. They're the 3 best looking guys we got, so we'll go with them. It's sort of they're the madmen. Um, okay. By the way, this is sort of somewhat related. Remember way back when we had a site that was called Pure Horology, and what we did with that site was to use it sort of to get to sort of planning and so forth. And there was at some point that there was a commitment, and so then we started up the 6801 group, which I think was a good idea because these were just the people who were invested, and it's been very useful. And then we have WhatsApp, and so we have we have sort of a nice little structure with that. But the thing with Pure Horology was that it's supposed to be sort of like a launching pad, and that's what we used it for, and it worked as a launching pad. And so what I did is that I took our old 60 what was it 6911 or whatever that movement was, and took it off of there and put up a Crenode 102, which is one by Jean-Francois Mojon, and then talk about it as an incubator. If any of you were ever Silicon Valley fans, you'll know what an incubator is. So it's essentially what it is a place where an idea gets kicked around and moving together and trying to get groups together. And that's exactly what we did at Work Fine. And then we go off on a private group. So that was a change that I made to that. So um, and if you're interested in the history of how we got our project done, you can go just sort of drill down in the pure horology, and that stuff is all still there. Um, and I've been encouraging. That was another thing I had done is that I was trying in the last few videos I've done is that talking about a far more affordable and less um, unwieldy kind of project. This project, I think I will ever always see this as almost as a miracle that we were able to get what we got with these tip top everything, the watchmakers, the case makers, everybody. I would go down in my miracle book. But I think for a lot of people, they couldn't, $7,500 and waiting a year isn't on most people's agenda who are watch collectors. But what I was thinking of, there are a lot of guys who don't have that much money, and but they would love to have a movement by a top-notch watchmaker, such as we have by the Vitarex and Agenor. And that was when I saw this one by Jean-Paul Mojon, and it was the Crenode 102, and it was like 10 people can get one for about $1,300 each, which is, pretty good deal. I mean, because then you don't have to deal with as many people and or as much money or anything, and it's off the shelf. You can just say, "Hey, I want that one," and they'll send that to you. So the so it's for that kind of thing. Now, tomorrow there's this group. Let me see if I can that wanted to talk with me called where is it? Keep forgetting your name. Okay. Um, they are trying to find their name. There it is. Develop Your Watch. Okay, there's a company that's called Develop Your Watch, and essentially what they do is that, and I think they were devised for micro brands. Okay, so somebody decides, hey, I want to start a watch company, and so they somehow find what movement they want to use. And I'm sure in the past there were a lot of ETAs. I think there are a lot of conceptos that are also involved in this level of watchmaking. And so, develop your watch will help you develop them with the case and dial and hands and so forth. And what I think is that there's for people who don't have much money, this is sort of the way to go. What we did is just is a lot of work and a lot of discussion. So, that's what that's about. So if you go to Pure Horology, you'll see a different, banner up there and everything, but if you drill down not very far, you'll see the whole history of how our group started. Okay. Um, okay, by the way, too, I'm not involved in that. I just wanted to sort of provide a structure for people who wanted to do it. I'm really up to my eyebrows in this project because there's so many moving pieces, and I got things organized to catch them all, and that's what I wanna do until we have our watches. Okay, anything else we need to oh, yeah, one last thing. Haider, again, going back to you again. How about the costs? From the voting we had, 2 colors came up. One was coral and the other was, lapis azul. Those were the seemed to be the 2 favorites. I don't know, what you wanna do about that. Um, VMF, okay. Yeah, I got a thing I think it was VMF. Somebody who was connected up with, what's that group that Tim Mosso is, the that watch something or other? Um, they're, uh, they contacted me about something else, and I don't know. This was sort of like something I wanted to have say, okay, here you guys go do it and enjoy yourselves. And here's a structure that you can use. But some of these other groups, this design your our develop your watch is a sort of I guess like yeah, they're gonna put everything together. Here's the problem. Yeah, Watchbox. Thanks, Pasha. That's what I was thinking of. Um, there's some other ones that are coming along, and if they can come up with something that collectors can get really good quality watches. I think what's been substituting for quality watches has been quality decorations. They put engraving on it, and they'll put it on a pretty standard movement, or they'll put Guy Shea on the dial and say, "Look at this," and you know, and the movement is ignored. I think the thing about our project that I liked about it is that we started with the movement and we started with Agenor rather than starting with some kind of shiny bauble. Okay, all right. So Haider, you're good with either color. So anybody else want to say anything about the color of the cloth? We did vote on that. They also voted for the smaller of the two sizes too. Anything on that that you want to add? Did Matthew give his opinion on the color of the cloth, or will he charge us for it? I didn't ask him, and I'll tell you why. For God's sakes, I mean, it's sort of like, that's uh, that just sort of. I mean, he doesn't have to tell us what color of cloth to get. Okay, anything having to do with the design of the watch, but the color of the cloth, for crying out loud. If somebody else wants to ask him, go ahead. I'm not going to ask him that question because it just seems like it's almost silly that we can't make up our mind about that, and of course we can't. So a quality watch at a wholesale price. Um, Tourbillon, it's actually not at a wholesale price, it's at the manufactured price. It's before it goes to wholesale, and I think that that's why we were able to get something really great. Yeah, Paul, good point. I was thinking the same thing, but I like both colors, so I'm good with either one. Oh, good. What did the box manufacturers say? What have you got on that? That's gonna be important, I think, because at some point, all of our watches have to go on a box. What I've got to do, I've got to get all the numbers squared away. I've I My plan is to go to Switzerland in June with all of the information we have and get them all set up so that they're going to be divided into two groups. One group, um, Mike Margolis, the rep from Peck, is going to have this company that he works with come and pick them all up and send them either overseas, and then another company is, and when I say overseas, I mean anywhere but the U.S. And then another company is coming, and they're going to pick up all the ones for the U.S. and then put them through directly to send them to Mike, and he's going to pay for the what is it, the customs and whatever the shipping was to his place, and then we'll reimburse him and then cap it with 5%. That was clear, and then he's going to send them out from there in the U.S. But in order for them to do that, I got to get all of the watches with all of the right addresses together, and so having a box is going to be a huge help, and I think getting it in a box would be pretty nice too. Okay, they have a wood workshop for exclusive boxes, but I don't know the prices yet. Um, okay, Hater, good. Um, yes, I think that would be nice to have a box. I got to tell you, there's, a lot of these big watch companies. When I got my, what is it, the uh, American 1921 from Vacheron and Constantin. Not only did it have a have a cloth the size of a beach towel. I still don't know why they put a huge cloth. They had this elaborate case that it came in that was actually two stories. And then the bottom part, they had the uh, where you could put your extra straps and things like that. Really elaborate, but it was made in, I don't know, someplace with a jungle overseas somewhere. And so, we don't have to spend a whole lot of money. With a Swiss box would be nice. The ones also too you might want to check. Um, I don't have. I'm looking to see if I have it handy, and I don't. Um, Harboring Two has a really nice little box. It's a little box, and you just open it up, and there's the watch made out of wood, and it would be easy to pack and so forth. So, but anyway, yeah, find out about the boxes, what they charge. Does anybody want to have suggest an upper level of what they how much this should cost us per box, so that Haider can go and say, I talked to this group and this is their limit. So you give Haider some bargaining chips on that. Anybody have a how about 20 Swiss francs? Okay. Does that sound reasonable for a wooden box? No, hang on a second. Okay. Um, all right. All right. That sounds probably the easiest thing to do. The fact that you already have a meeting with them, uh, see what you can do with that. Okay. If it's less than that, that's okay too. All right. Is there anything else that we need to cover that we haven't covered? Oh, hold it before we. I gotta write this down. The name of the watch company is ALPSTARK. Is that right? Let me see. It is Alpstark. Is that it? it's, it's it's sort of an interesting name. Well, guys. Well, listen. If there's anything else, there's the 6801 group. You can uh, contact me or everybody else on, or the Lyrique Etude #1 on our WhatsApp, where everybody can be contacted. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we're going to be doing this every week because I think enough stuff is going to be happening. I think it'd be a good idea. We should have some musical elements designed to go with our name. I'm willing to go higher. Well, maybe they think we're selling flutes. I don't know. Okay. What, like some half notes or something like that, some little tune things. All right. Well, uh, listen, um, Donald, your point may be right. I don't know. I'm not. I haven't bought a wooden box in a long time. In fact, ever. Um, So, I mean, we had to have some kind of number. I don't want to say, the sky's the limit, or go really cheap. Um, Hader's going to meet with him and check it out and see what we can do. Something nice. Doesn't have to be fancy, but something nice. Okay, take care, be safe, and uh, anything comes up, let me know.